Yes. Welcome to another great episode of the Ashish and Friends podcast. Today, we're going to talk about the quarterback carousel that's going on right now. So, Matt Stafford just got traded from the Detroit Lions to the Los Angeles Rams. What are your thoughts on that, Dev?
Well, I think it's super interesting. One, there's a lot of different aspects to break down. One, the Rams paid a lot for him,
Yeah.
right? And I guess that goes to show you just how much faith they have in their defense, in Sean McVay, in their GM, that they really think they're a quarterback away. Now, I don't know if that's true. I think that probably today they're the third best team in the NFC because I don't think they're better than Green Bay or Tampa, right? With
Right.
Matthew Stafford. But sure, they're probably the best team in their division solidly now, right? Um, I think that's a pretty good place to be if you're the Rams. However, it's going to cost you. I mean, what? Jared Goff is their only first round pick in the last what? I think it'll be 7 years when it's up or
Yeah,
something like
yeah,
that.
yeah. So he
So
was their last first round pick. That was 4 years ago. They don't have it
yeah.
for the next 3 years. So good job, Rams.
Yeah, seven years in a row, and then I really eight because you traded away Jared Goff too.
Right. Yeah, yeah. It's crazy because I don't think they had a bad record of first round picks. Obviously, Aaron Donald was a good first round pick, right? But I think it's just interesting how ballsy they are with their picks. They're like, if like a first round pick, we're just gonna trade them all away and get these good players. And I feel like they traded two firsts and a third, and I feel like a first and a third were just for Stafford, and the first was just to attach
to
with
take off.
because
Yeah.
that contract sucks. So he'll definitely be the starter for the Lions this upcoming year because I think the dead cap hits like 43 million, so that's not happening. I think the following year it goes to like 2/3, so it's only like a, a smaller hit will be traded, but after 2 years there's an out. So they'll probably move on at least at that point. But yeah, that's pretty steep for sure and a little crazy. Like I don't. Oh, okay, I think Stafford's way more consistent than Goff, but I don't think it's like that drastic of a difference where you're just like, okay, now we're like legitly, going for the Super Bowl, right? Like I think
Yeah.
it's either a great move, if you make the Super Bowl, it pays off, right? Hopefully you win it. If you get bounced off in the first round of the playoffs, for the next couple of years, it's a total L for the Rams because they're just gonna have to rebuild again in a couple of years with no picks.
Yeah, well, we'll see, right? I think that Sean McVay probably looks at someone like Matt Stafford and he looks, okay, I can't throw the ball downfield with Jared Goff, right?
Right.
He's not throwing the ball downfield with any consistency. He's turning the ball over too much. And he's like, look, I could be winning games if my quarterback isn't turning the ball over, if my quarterback isn't, fumbling the ball, isn't throwing interceptions, right? He's probably so frustrated that it's like, okay, Matt Stafford has to come in and he just wants a player that's going to be able to do those things right. And,
Right.
Aaron Rodgers, other quarterbacks have talked about Matt Stafford being this like insanely talented player who just is dealing with nothing, right? I think I saw the stat was he's had 12 in his career. He's had, I think they said 12 100-yard rushers in a game.
Mm. Dang. Yeah.
He's had 12 games in his career with a 100-yard rusher.
Right.
This is like stuff that he should get instantly, right? The Rams average 120 rushing yards a game, right?
Yeah.
He should have this every week now. So what can he do? We don't know, right? It's good for all of us. We're gonna find out if Matthew Stafford's a good quarterback.
Yeah, I guess so. Like you mentioned, I think the run game is going to help. He has some good receivers there. Cup and Woods are still there, and I think they're fantastic. They obviously drafted another receiver last year as well. So I feel like he has a full team there. Let's see what he can do. I think we're talking about kind of Indy, being the ideal place for him because, the offensive line is just so good in Indianapolis. Like, why would you not want to go there, right? There's other couple of teams that tried to trade for him. Washington, looking for a quarterback out there. Carolina Panthers, I think that's an interesting spot, especially maybe for Deshaun Watson or something. We can talk about him in a moment. The other teams that tried to trade were the 49ers. They never made an official offer, but, they're discussing about it. And the one team Stafford didn't want to go to was the Patriots. He's like, don't trade me there, which I totally get, right? Boomer Esiason was actually just hating on it. He's like, Stafford just can't live up to it. There's a lot of pressure there. I'm just like, yeah, who wants to do that? Half the team opted out into the season, right? They're like, we're not we're not doing anything. We're like, why am I gonna like get my ass whooped from Bill Belichick for no reason? And obviously Matt Patricia went back to New England, so like
Yeah.
I'm sure Stafford doesn't want to see him again, right?
Yeah, I don't know. The Matt Patricia thing is interesting because like it's not even like Patricia's a coordinator, right? Like he's basically a nobody on the coaching staff now at this point in New England.
Yeah.
So like I don't know if that's why or if it was the Patriot way or whatever that scared him. Um, but it's interesting. I didn't really see like that was a bad fit anyway, right? When you're talking like when I looked at like a team that would want Matt Stafford, I would have expected a good offensive line team, a team that has maybe some dynamic playmakers. And so the Rams kind of fit that, right? They've got a good line. They've got Robert Woods, right? They've
Yeah.
got
Cooper Cup.
Cooper Cup, right?
And they've
Thanks, I was forgetting his name.
no,
Yeah,
it's all
Cooper
good. And
Cup. So they have good
they also have
receivers.
like two pretty stud tight ends as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, they have a great offense, and hopefully they can put it together. But yeah, I mean Indianapolis, who is going there? Because like that job is so juicy. Like, why would you not want to go there? I'm just excited to see who lands up there. We can, first of all, I just want to mention the Rams. I don't know what the fuck they're doing. We're talking about the first round picks. They also like are so against the cap, right? They lost like millions of dollars because they cut Todd Gurley too, right?
Yeah.
Like I just thought about that. They like they have dead cap of like 8 million because of that. I'm like, oh my goodness, what is this team doing? So they're like all in this moment. They're like, balls to the wall. It's either gonna work or otherwise everyone's gonna get fired and they're just gonna rebuild for like the next 10 years.
I think it's really interesting because they're playing it a lot like an NBA team, right?
Yeah.
The way the Rams are playing it reminds me a lot of like how the Nets are trying to play right now, where it's like, okay, we're going to trade away everything, trade the whole house away, and try to like we'll figure out the cap situation. We don't know how it's going to work. We don't. The Nets don't even have enough players on the roster, right? I think they have like 3 empty spots right now.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting. That's the way they're playing it, and I would be interested to see if we're going to see it more from NFL franchises. And it also brings up the point of maybe the approach now in rebuilding is to not figure out the quarterback, figure everything else out, and then just go trade. Just go trade away a bunch of firsts and go get, Matt Stafford, go get Deshaun Watson. Just get a guaranteed hit at quarterback when you have the like right pieces. We don't know. Maybe like if the Rams win the Super Bowl, maybe we're talking about the Rams as this genius move, right? Like figure out the quarterback later.
This would be a new Moneyball movie about the Rams. It's just whatever they're doing over there. But yeah, like I said, it's either genius or it's really stupid. But yeah, it's totally like NBA, like trading a first round pick, dumping some salary like that. And you're just like, okay, take this. Yeah, you definitely see it in the NBA all the time.
Or even like the Rockets is probably a better metaphor, where it's like we have like the Rams, they have Aaron Donald, who might as well be like James Harden in that sense, right? It's like you have a superstar. We're going to try everything we can throw at the wall to build around him,
right?
And see if it works.
No, definitely, and I think you're totally right. With the Rams, they have a good defense, right? It's pretty great, and they have the offensive weapons and a nice line. That's how you do it, right? You don't want to trade for the quarterback and then just have the city like shitty situation around him because like you're just going to ruin his career. At the same time, you never know what your first round is going to be, right? It could be a bust. You never know what you can get. So you might as well trade him for like a solidified starter, right? So it definitely
known
makes sense.
Commodity versus an unknown one.
Yeah, exactly. All right, talking about Houston and Deshaun Watson here. Where do you think he lands up, man? I've heard some talks of like the Jets. I don't get it. I hope they don't.
I really don't. I don't like the move. So
yeah.
So for the Jets, right? Like I guess I would say yeah, I like the move because there's no like wrong time to get Deshaun Watson.
Right.
But like that team's not winning. So is it really? It's not a win for Watson. It's not really a win for the Jets because are they like really winning with it? So like to me when I looked, the jobs that I thought were like really appealing. One, you have like Indianapolis, right? We talked about it a bunch. Indy has that like it's just that perfect spot. What they don't have is dynamic playmakers from the receivers, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of like the one weakness, and that's where having Deshaun Watson makes that matter less, right? You saw him throw, I mean, what was it, 4,800 yards this year with no receivers?
Right. Yeah. So I mean, they do have like a decent run game, right? They have a really good run game, really good line, and I mean, they have some decent tight ends there. Doyle's always injured, but Mo Alley Cox, that guy can ball out. We know it from fantasy. That guy is a baller. They also drafted Michael Pittman last year, so you got something there. T.Y. Hilton's old and stuff. So, invest a couple picks, sign a free agent, whatever it is. I think they can solve that. But yeah, Indy's job
Well,
looks so juicy for sure.
it's one of those things that it's like, it makes so much sense, but Deshaun Watson's not getting traded in the division. So, like, the chances that he goes to Indy is, like, virtually none.
That's true.
So what we really have to look at is, I think that the Dolphins make a lot of sense, right? Where it's like Tua is a known asset, so you may be able to trade less to get him. And if you just ask, like, if we talked about, like, the Dolphins and like where they are right now, and you're like, okay, their defense is pretty good, they've got a good line, they've got a decent run game, like, what's holding them back? You'd be like, oh, it's probably their quarterback play. Yeah, right. Like, Tua and Fitzpatrick aren't the best quarterbacks.
Right.
So,
okay.
so that's a playoff team, right? I don't know if that's a Super Bowl contender.
Right.
And then I also kind of look New England in the same way, where New England, they don't have receivers, they don't know how to draft offensive skill players, but if you have Deshaun Watson, that matters less, right? That's less important when you have someone like Deshaun Watson who can elevate those around him. And I don't know, Deshaun just looks like a New England quarterback. Like, do you get what I'm saying?
Imagine it.
I can just imagine it, because I look at him like, he's just like he's slim, attractive, like a glitzy, glamorous person. Like, I see him in like a Patriots jersey, I think it'll just look right. It'll just look good on him. Like, Cam looks great in the New England jersey. Say what you will about his play.
Right, and then you can start endorsing UGG boots, the whole get up there. Okay, I'll talk about Miami. I think it does make sense. I just like where Miami's at right now. Like, we're trying to save Watson from a shitty team, a shitty franchise. Why are we gonna waste another a young quarterback's career? Like, we're just fucking Tua over at that point, right? Like, I feel bad, and Dolphins have the number 3, number 4 pick right now, and I think they can invest in a wide receiver. I feel like that team's booming. I like that team. Hey, you still got Fitzpatrick there, right? So worst comes to worst, Fitzmagic time.
Fitzmagic is right there.
You're good to go. The teams I'm looking at are the ones I've tried to trade for Stafford. Obviously, the 49ers, right? If they're ready to move on from Jimmy Garoppolo, I think their defense is awesome, right? They have some nice receivers over there, and a decent run game too. So I feel like they're just a quarterback away, and we'll see them in the Super Bowl soon if they traded for Watson, right? I feel like the 49ers are a good team. The Carolina Panthers, right? They're not sold on Teddy Bridgewater, and they look really freaking good. So I feel like that's another potential team. And as much as it hurts me to say, I think the Chicago Bears. I hate the Bears. I hate, obviously Shahan's team out here. I just hate them. But I feel like that team's ready to win, and give them an actual quarterback, and they could do great things.
Yeah, it's interesting, because there are probably like a lot more teams so here's the thing with Deshaun Watson, right? There's probably one team that's hanging up the phone if you call them, right?
Right.
And that's the Chiefs. Everyone else, they're probably better off with Deshaun Watson. Like, don't get me wrong, you could make an argument Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson are better players, but Deshaun's younger.
Yeah.
So, and his signing bonus has already been paid, so Deshaun's not really a cap hit at this point. If you bring him in, it's $30 million a year. That's great value for Deshaun.
Right. Yeah, no, for sure. That's a good point. I mean, Bill Barnwell from ESPN had an article, I think came out last week or 2 weeks ago, and he was talking about 17 potential destinations for Deshaun Watson. And even in there were the Cowboys, right? I hated half the trades because I thought they were kind of stupid, but potentially at least there's 17 teams ready for Deshaun Watson, and the teams he knocked off were playoff teams and teams like you mentioned with Rodgers or Wilson and whatnot. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, there's just a shit more ton of teams ready for Watson. Even the Broncos, right? I didn't hear an official trade for Stafford, but that team's ready, right? That defense is really good. They're aging, so it's time to get a nice quarterback in there and get that shit rolling.
Right, and they have what they suspect to be 2 superstar receivers, right? That's what we think of Judy and sorry, I'm blanking on his name. The second-year receiver in Denver.
The tight end? Noah Fant?
The tight end, yes. Yeah, sorry, Noah Fant, yeah.
Yeah.
So, we're looking at them like they have a good team, right?
Right. Yeah. For sure. I mean, even with Locke and whoever else was back there when he's injured, I mean, the team looks pretty decent. And, obviously their defense, got a couple injuries last year as well, right? They're getting those players back. I mean, I don't know. I feel like they need to trade for a starter. And let's see what happens. But I mean, ideally, I'd be super happy if he went to the Niners or the Panthers. I think those are the two best locations for him.
Yeah, I think him getting to the NFC would probably be great for the NFC in general. So
Right.
that's kind of where hope he ends up,
Right.
but
I
we'll
mean,
see.
could you imagine out here Wilson, Stafford, Watson, Murray? Oh
Yeah.
God, right? That division's gonna be amazing to watch if that happened. But yeah, any other closing thoughts here with potential destinations or
No,
Watson talk here?
I just think it's exciting, right? I think what we're starting to see is the NFL approaching the NBA in terms of player empowerment. And if there's one thing we've seen out of the NBA, it's that man, does the offseason rock in the NBA. The offseason is a great time for the NBA. There's so much hope, so much potential, so much rebuilding. And I really hope we're going to start to see that with the NFL and some of these star quarterbacks getting the power they deserve, right? If you're
Yeah,
Deshaun Watson, you you shouldn't waste away like Matt Stafford, you know?
right.
I love to see these quarterbacks exercising their power. I hope he gets traded. I hope he gets what he wants. I hope he's happy. That's what I really want out of it. A happy
Yeah,
Deshaun Watson.
that's true, and I think the interesting thing is like you hear all these articles and news reports of like teammates telling him like hashtag free Watson. Like they're like, yo, save your
Yeah.
career. We don't even want you here. Like God bless you. We hope you have a successful career
Yeah.
somewhere else because it's not happening here.
You know that Deshaun is in the right when JJ Watt supports him. Right? JJ Watt wants him to get traded. And like
Yeah,
this man knows what it's like to be wasted as a Texan.
that's true. And funny enough, he's a free agent too, and they're talking
Yeah.
about him moving on away from the Texans. And it's just crazy. Just like 2 years ago, you're like, oh, Texans look good, and oh, see ya Hopkins, and maybe see ya Watson, and just ooh, that is
I
rough.
I really hope JJ Watt goes and ring chases. Like that would be awesome for me. You know what? Sign him up on the Rams too.
You know what? No, no, no. Push Watson and Watt to the Niners. Okay,
Yeah.
the Niners already have a stacked line. Add Watt on there too. But oh my goodness, that'd be interesting to watch. But yeah, I mean, there's just so many potential destinations, right? Like even Big Ben with the Steelers, right? A team that made the a decent run in the playoffs and had an incredible season. We don't know what's going to happen to him. That could be a potential landing spot for a lot of these younger quarterbacks or potential ones that get moved.
Yeah, it's just gonna be fun to watch.
Yeah, looking forward to it. We'll keep you updated and we'll keep talking about it as things keep moving. I hope you enjoyed this episode. And until next time, we're out. See ya.